Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It's a saying we've all heard. But few know that its spirit comes straight from Niccolò Machiavelli, the man who looked at the world not with idealism, but with ruthless clarity. To Machiavelli, friends were never the ones you should trust most. In fact, he believed friends could be the most dangerous. Why? Because they expect more, they envy more, and they betray more easily than your declared enemies. This is Machiavelli's darkest advice, that the very people we call allies, companions, even family may one day turn the knife. And if you're not prepared, weakness will cost you everything. Machiavelli observed that human beings are driven by self-interest above all else. A friend may smile, they may offer loyalty, they may even risk something for you. But deep inside, they are always calculating, what do I gain? What do I lose? And when your success outshines theirs, envy creeps in. When you hold power, they want a piece of it. When you show weakness, they want to exploit it. Machiavelli writes in The Prince that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and greedy. This includes friends, perhaps especially friends, because while an enemy has already declared their stance, a friend hides their ambitions behind the mask of loyalty. And so, according to Machiavelli, an enemy is safer than a friend. You expect an enemy to betray you, but from a friend, betrayal cuts deeper because you never saw it coming. Take the story of Julius Caesar. He had conquered Gaul, crossed the Rubicon, and taken control of Rome. But Caesar's downfall didn't come from foreign enemies. It came from his closest allies. Marcus Junius Brutus was not only Caesar's friend, he was like a son to him. And yet, on the Ides of March, it was Brutus who struck the fatal blow. Why? Because friendship was never stronger than ambition. Machiavelli would have pointed to Caesar and said, "This is the cost of trusting friends." Closer to Machiavelli's own world was the Medici family of Florence. They rose to power not just through wealth, but through alliances. Yet over and over they were betrayed, not by open enemies, but by supposed allies. Plots were hatched in banquet halls. Poison was poured into wine by loyal companions. Smiles in the palace concealed daggers in the dark. Machiavelli watched this unfold firsthand, and it shaped his view. Friends betray for envy, while enemies betray for survival. And envy is far more dangerous. Centuries later, Napoleon would face the same truth. He trusted his marshals, the men who had followed him through dozens of battles, but when the tide of war turned against him, one by one, they abandoned him. Ney, Murat, Bernadotte. Friends turned their backs the moment loyalty no longer paid. History, again and again, proved Machiavelli right. It is not always the enemy you should fear most, but the friend whose loyalty ends when your power fades. But why is it that friends can be so dangerous? Machiavelli gives us 3 chilling reasons. 1. Expectation of reward. A friend feels entitled. If you rise, they expect to rise with you. If they don't, resentment builds. 2. Closeness breeds envy. They see your flaws up close, but also your strengths. And envy is born not from strangers, but from those who compare themselves directly to you. 3. Trust creates blindness. With enemies, you guard yourself. With friends, you lower your defenses. That's why betrayal from a friend always succeeds, because you never prepare for it. This, Machiavelli warns, is the darkest paradox of power. The closer someone is to you, the more dangerous they can become. Enemies are predictable. They oppose you openly. You can plan for them, outmaneuver them, crush them if necessary. But friends, they operate in shadows. Their dagger is hidden behind a smile. Machiavelli saw value in enemies. An enemy, by existing, gives you clarity. They keep you sharp. They remind you to protect your position. And sometimes, they can even become allies out of necessity, because their interests demand it. Friends, however, demand loyalty even when it no longer serves your survival. And in the ruthless game of power, survival must always come first. This wasn't just theory for Machiavelli. It was personal. He had served the Republic of Florence with loyalty. He believed his colleagues were his allies. But when the Medici family returned to power, those same friends abandoned him. They had no use for a man out of favor. Machiavelli was exiled, tortured, and humiliated. It was in that pain that he wrote The Prince. And in its pages, his warning is clear. Trust no one fully, not even your friends. It was not cynicism, it was survival. This truth didn't die with the Renaissance. It still governs politics, business, and even personal life. In politics, today's allies become tomorrow's rivals. Nations shake hands in public while plotting against each other in secret. In business, partners start as friends, but end in lawsuits. The closer the partnership, the uglier the betrayal when money or power is at stake. Even in personal life, friendships fracture under envy, competition, or hidden resentment. A friend may cheer your success, but deep down they may also despise it. Machiavelli's lesson echoes today. Do not blind yourself with trust. Expect betrayal, even from those closest. So what do we do with this truth? Machiavelli offers not despair, but strategy. 1. Balance trust with vigilance. Never trust blindly. Even with friends, keep watch. 2. Use enemies wisely. Sometimes an enemy is more reliable than a friend. Their self-interest is clear, and that makes them predictable. 3. Do not reveal everything. Keep part of yourself hidden. Mystery protects you from being too easily betrayed. 4. Reward loyalty, but carefully. Recognize true loyalty, but do not assume it lasts forever. Always test it. In Machiavelli's world, the greatest ruler was not the one who trusted most, but the one who calculated human nature without illusions. Machiavelli's darkest advice is also his most liberating. By assuming betrayal is possible, you are never blindsided by it. By understanding that even friends can turn, you protect yourself from devastation. The truth is harsh, but Machiavelli never promised comfort. He promised clarity. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Friends may break promises. Allies may abandon you. But if you remember Machiavelli's warning, you will never be destroyed by what you should have expected all along. Because in the end, those who survive are not those who trust blindly, but those who see clearly. This is Silent Echoes, and this was Machiavelli's darkest advice. Never trust friends completely.